But is there anything that this Bentley can't do? We've got a bit of a soft spot for Bentley here at Carbuyer. Yes, they are fantastically expensive, and you do tend to think twice whenever you see a gazillion of them in rap videos. But then you sit in one, and then those feelings just melt away, and you can't help but think to yourself, yeah, this is a bit of me. And what a lovely day it is today, because I am about to show you the facelifted Bentley Bentayga. It needs to be luxurious. It needs to be decent off-road. It needs to be sporty on-road, and it needs to be as wafty and serene and refined as you would expect it to be. Oh, and it is, by the way, a hybrid. Yeah, I know. But look, do we still speak in affectionate terms about Bentley after driving this? Let's find out, shall we? Oh, if you haven't subscribed to the Carbuyer YouTube channel yet, you are missing out. Like this video and write a comment as well if you fancy it. Lovely. Oh, and the bell button, so then you get notifications. Cool.
Facelifts are often pretty mild, but the changes made for the update for the Bentayga are quite significant. The headlights have been redesigned and repositioned, and the grille is new. In fact, every panel at the front of the car has been tweaked. Things are a bit more drastic at the back, where there's a completely new tailgate and new oval lights, like the ones in the Continental GT, rather than the square ones of the previous model. Changes have been made on the inside too.
Well, would you look at this? Cricket ball red, it's called. And it feels like I'm sat in the House of Lords. In fact, I kind of feel like a lord, or a lady, if you will. I mean, as you look around, everything is just wonderfully splendid. Now, the biggest difference between this facelifted Bentayga and the previous one is this newly redesigned center console that has this new touchscreen, which has the updated infotainment system. Now, the graphics and everything is all really sharp and very lovely. It's nice and easy to use. I do keep catching it out every now and again with my super sharp fingers. I mean, it happens. I'm just sharp like that, you know, I can't help it. Now, speaking of sharp, we got some new digital dials back here, which look gorgeous. I think they're really nice and easy to follow, and they just look really smart. Everything else in here is as you would expect. Diamond quilted leather, very nice. Massaging ventilated seats, naturally, sir. Deep pile carpets, very, very nice. This lovely chrome organ stop vents that I think are gorgeous. Oh, and eucalyptus veneer. Hello. Everything feels really high quality, which is what you would expect in a car that costs you £190,000, which is what this car costs when you include all the options. I mean, it is so expensive it could turn your face cricket ball red.
If you've been eyeing up a Bentayga for a while, but you're a little bit put off by the red interior, don't panic. It's not obligatory. There are a bewildering number of options available for colours, veneers and stitching. Bentley doesn't have trim levels as such. You essentially pick your engine you want, then you personalise the car to your taste. But every Bentayga comes with leather upholstery, a panoramic sunroof, LED lights, soft closed doors, sat-nav, Wi-Fi, wireless Apple CarPlay and wired Android Auto. For more details on equipment and options, head over to carbuyer.co.uk.
Did I say House of Lords? Because I meant private jet. Now, the Bentayga comes as a 7-seater, 5-seater or a 4-seater, but this hybrid version only comes with a maximum of 5 seats. But I am very relaxed to tell you that this is the ultra deluxe 4-seat version. You've got 2 airline seats and this lovely compartment bit in the middle. I mean, I don't understand people that call seats chairs in cars, but this feels like a chair. I mean, I don't have to tell you. Legroom loads, headroom loads, comfort loads. I mean, the only thing I'm missing really is someone coming along and just handing me a complimentary gin and tonic. No, but only in the seats back here, because this is the place to be. I mean, this is where you kick your shoes off, you take your socks off, you feel the carpet between your toes. Oh, now, well, there might not be a waiter, but what you can do is put up the electric privacy blinds, just to keep out the sun and the paparazzi, because you're such a big deal, you know. And you've also got this touchscreen down here, which is actually really handy. You can access your heated seats, your ventilated seats, all your menus, information about the car. You can close the blind up the top there, look at that. Oh, lovely. And also, you can control the sound system. the name for Bentley sound system, which I have said before is the best that you can get in any car. I said this in the Flying Spur review, which you can watch via the link.
Not only does the 4-seat option mean your fifth passenger is forced to get the bus, but it also eats into boot space, which isn't as much as you might expect anyway. The 5-seat layout in the hybrid gives you 479 litres of luggage room, but 4 seats and the centre console means boot space drops to 387 litres, and you don't get the split folding rear seats either, so you can forget about putting longer items in the boot. A food shop or some luggage still fits in okay. I know this because I took this car to the supermarket. Yeah, I'm not your average Bentley driver, am I? But it's fair to say that while the 4-seat layout isn't the most practical choice, it is the most luxurious. While the W12 engine in the range-topping Bentayga Speed has a faintly ridiculous 626 brake horsepower, and our favourite 4-litre V8 in the V8 and S models have 542 brake horsepower, the plug-in hybrid Bentayga isn't intended to rival those models for drama, power or prestige. It's about running costs. This car returns official economy of 83.1 miles per gallon, which is about 4 times what the other 2 engines can manage. CO2 emissions stand at 82 grams per kilometre, which makes this model a lot more feasible as a company car. If you pay benefit-in-kind tax as a 40% income taxpayer, you pay around £10,000 less per year than you would for the V8. Half price tax.
Now the system hasn't been changed since the facelift, so the engine that we've got here is the 3-litre V6 petrol engine with an electric motor, which combined makes 443 brake horsepower, which, that's plenty, Nicola! I can hear you say, yeah, I know. And it does 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds, you lunatic. I know, I get that. But it just doesn't sound or feel like a Bentley should. Now the other options, I'm thinking of the V8 and the W12, are not only more powerful, but they just sound glorious. And you put your foot down with either one of those engines underneath the bonnet, and the power, I mean, it's just borderline excessive. But that's what Bentley is all about, right? Excess, abundance. Whereas this V6 just feels a bit ordinary. Taken from Audi, by the way. It was a bit strained at times. Oh, and also, those bigger engines, when they are cruising along, they get to a almost unaudible burble, you know? This just isn't as smooth. Now, the plug-in hybrid version is just a nice little taster of what it's going to be like when Bentley eventually goes pure electric. We've got 25 miles of pure electric range. Okay, maybe a little bit less in the real world, but there's a little button down here that puts it into EV mode, and when it is in EV mode, I mean, it's got that lovely hush that I just think really is in keeping with a car like this, more so than the petrol engines, you know. Now, leaving to one side what's actually underneath the bonnet, this car is really quite wonderful to drive. I mean, it weighs just under 3 tons, but the way it changes direction, it's really impressive. The steering is so precise. You've got very little body roll, and the suspension is super comfortable. I mean, you do occasionally feel a little thump if you hit like the most horrid pothole. But I'd say it drives more like a Porsche Cayman than it does a Range Rover. As ever, there are still 4 drive modes. So there is Sport, Bentley, Comfort, and Custom. Now what they do is they just slightly change the air suspension, make it a little bit softer, make it a little bit firmer, depends on how you're driving it. Now you can also have the optional dynamic ride system, which minimises body roll even more with an electronic roll control system. So then, if you're not driving too quickly, I mean, you can just sit back and relax in your quilted leather seats and be super comfortable. And finally, you can opt for the all-terrain specification, which gives off-road modes, basically, for snow or for wet mud or slippery stuff. I mean, I know this is a really expensive car, but is there anything that this Bentley can't do?
Well, let's find out then, shall we? With the Dealmakers and the Dealbreakers. All versions of the Bentayga come with plenty of power, and the W12 and V8 models use two of the best engines currently available in any car on the market. The look and the feel of the materials used for the interior mean that any drive has a sense of occasion. Okay, the Bentayga isn't the most practical large SUV, but there are few cars on the market that feel like a sports car, a limousine, and an off-roader all at the same time. There's no escaping the fact that the Bentayga is phenomenally expensive to buy and run. And although the plug-in hybrid model might help with running costs, the powertrain detracts from the overall Bentley experience. We prefer a full EV.
Now, while we're not fans of this plug-in hybrid version, the Bentayga is still a thoroughly impressive luxury SUV, and one that I would quite happily swan around in forever if they would let me keep it. I mean, it's quick, it's great to drive, it is so comfortable, it's so luxurious, and it goes off-road. I mean, what more could you expect? I guess the boot could be bigger, and it is very, very, very expensive. But you do get a lot of car for your money, and while this hybrid version does have me yearning for the more powerful petrol engines, what this car does is show you, when it's in EV mode, that when Bentley eventually move to fully electric, it's not necessarily going to be a bad thing. This is just a nice little compromise while we wait.
If you like this video, then why not watch our review of the Bentley Flying Spur or our luxury cars playlist. Thanks for watching.